Have you ever wondered, why do some people work hard every single day, but somehow they never escape the same financial struggles? They wake up early, they sacrifice, they try, they survive. But years pass, and their life still looks exactly the same. Meanwhile, someone else seems to move forward almost effortlessly. They build businesses, they create opportunities, they make money work for them. At first glance, it looks like a simple difference in luck, or intelligence, or opportunity. But what if the biggest difference is not outside? What if the real battle is happening inside the mind? Because sometimes, poverty is not only a lack of money. Sometimes, it becomes a pattern, a way of thinking, a psychological environment that a person carries everywhere they go. And the most interesting part? Many people don't even realize they are trapped inside it. There is a strange paradox about money. Most people want more of it. They dream about financial freedom, they want a better house, a safer life, more choices, less stress. But at the same time, many people unconsciously repeat the exact behaviors that keep them away from those things. They say they want wealth, but they avoid learning about money. They say they want success, but they fear taking risks. They want change, but they protect the habits that created their current situation. It sounds confusing, almost irrational. But human behavior is rarely controlled by logic alone. The human brain was not designed to maximize wealth, it was designed to protect us, to keep us safe, to avoid pain, to seek comfort. And sometimes, the things that make us feel safe today are the same things that destroy our future tomorrow. So why do some people stay poor forever? Not because they are lazy, not because they are incapable, but because their mind has learned a certain way of surviving. And survival is not always the same thing as growth. One of the biggest invisible forces controlling human decisions is dopamine. Dopamine is the chemical connected to motivation and reward. Every time we receive a small pleasure, our brain remembers it. A notification, a new video, a quick purchase, a moment of comfort, a temporary escape. The brain says, remember this. This feels good. The problem is, the brain does not naturally care about your future self, it cares about what feels rewarding now. This is why some people constantly choose small pleasures over long-term progress. Instead of saving money, they spend. Instead of learning a skill, they consume entertainment. Instead of building something, they search for another distraction. The dangerous thing about dopamine is that it creates the illusion of progress. Scrolling feels like activity, planning feels like action, research feels like achievement. But nothing actually changes. A person can spend years preparing, without ever moving. And slowly, their life becomes a collection of small comforts, small rewards, small escapes, while their bigger dreams stay untouched. The wealthy mindset is often not about wanting more, it is about being able to delay pleasure, to accept discomfort today, for a better reality tomorrow. Because every successful person understands one uncomfortable truth: the future is built by the things you are willing to sacrifice now. Another reason people stay stuck financially is fear, not obvious fear. Most people don't wake up and say, I am afraid of success. Instead, fear hides behind reasonable explanations. I'm just being realistic. It's not the right time. I don't have enough experience. I'll start later. Sometimes these statements are true, but sometimes they are simply fear wearing a logical mask. Because growth requires uncertainty, and the human brain hates uncertainty. A stable but limited life can feel safer than an uncertain but better one. Imagine someone who has lived their entire life in a small room. Even if the door opens, they might hesitate, because outside the room is unknown. The same thing happens financially. A person may hate their situation, but they understand it, they know how to survive there. Changing means entering unfamiliar territory, learning new skills, facing failure, facing judgment, facing the possibility that their old identity was wrong. And that can feel terrifying. So the mind creates protection. It says, stay where you are. Don't risk it. Don't change. The third psychological force is what economists and psychologists call the scarcity mindset. When a person lives with a lack of resources for a long time, their brain changes how it processes information. It switches into a permanent state of defense. In a defense mindset, the goal is no longer to win, the goal is simply to not lose. Every decision is made from a place of fear and self-protection. When you operate from scarcity, you become hyper-focused on immediate survival. You think about today's food, this month's rent, tomorrow's bill. And because your mental energy is completely consumed by these short-term problems, you have no cognitive space left to plan for the long term. You can't think about building a business when you are terrified of missing a single paycheck. You can't invest in your education when every dollar feels like it needs to be saved for an emergency. Scarcity forces you to make decisions that are logical for today, but disastrous for tomorrow. It is a heavy psychological trap, because the more you focus on scarcity, the more scarcity you create. The fourth piece of the puzzle is social conditioning. We are social creatures. From the time we are children, we learn how to survive by watching the people around us. If a person grows up in an environment where everyone around them struggles with money, where wealth is viewed with suspicion, where financial freedom is seen as a myth, their brain internalizes those beliefs as absolute truth. They hear phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," "Rich people are greedy," "We are just poor people, that's just how it is." These are not just sentences, they become a psychological blueprint. Breaking out of poverty often means breaking away from the shared reality of your social group. And that brings a different kind of fear, the fear of isolation, the fear of rejection, the fear of being told that you think you are better than everyone else. Unconsciously, the mind chooses poverty because poverty keeps you connected to the group you love. It feels safer to belong to a struggling crowd than to stand alone in success. The final and perhaps most dangerous aspect of this psychology is learned helplessness. This is a psychological condition where a person has tried and failed so many times that their mind concludes that effort is useless. They stop looking for doors because they are convinced every door is locked. They stop trying to change because they believe the system, or luck, or the world is permanently rigged against them. And once the mind believes it is helpless, it stops acting. And when you stop acting, your poverty is no longer just a financial state. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Breaking this cycle is not easy. It requires more than just getting money. It requires a psychological revolution. It begins with awareness. It begins by looking inside your mind and asking, am I chasing short-term dopamine? Am I hiding behind a mask of logic because I am afraid of uncertainty? Am I trapped in a scarcity mindset? Wealth is not just built in a bank account. It is built in the choices you make when nobody is watching. It is built when you choose discomfort over short-term reward. It is built when you step out of the crowd and face the uncertainty of your own potential. The cage is invisible, but the key is already in your hands. The question is, are you willing to turn it? If this video made you look at your own mindset differently, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss our upcoming deep dives into the human mind and wealth. Which psychological barrier do you feel is holding you back the most right now? Is it dopamine, fear, or scarcity? Drop your thought in the comments below. Let's start a real conversation. Thank you for watching, and remember, the key is in your hands. See you in the next video.